With this one, it says, find 2 points where the curve x squared plus xy plus y squared equals 7 crosses the x-axis and show that the tangents of these curves are parallel. What is the common slope of these tangents? Okay, so what we're doing is we're looking at this slope, which looks like this. And we're looking, and first of all, what we're doing is we need to find where this crosses the x-axis. So I need to find this point, and I need to find this point. And then after that, what I'm doing is I'm going to find the tangent of this, and the tangent of this, and I need to show that these guys are going to be parallel. Now, it looks like it is, but I can't use the graph as a proof, so I'm going to use the math. So the first thing I need to do is find where this crosses the x-axis. And we know that anywhere this crosses the x-axis, the y is going to equal to 0. So if I want to find an x-intercept, you set y equal to 0. If I want to find a y-intercept, you set x equal to 0. So we're going to set y equal to 0. So then we get x squared plus x times 0, which is 0, plus 0 squared, which is 0, equals 7. So the place where it's going to happen is x equals plus or minus the square root of 7. Now remember, anytime you do the square root on both sides, you got to put the plus or minus. So there's my 2 points. Square root of 7 and then negative square root of 7. And so I know that the 2 points are going to be, well, square root of 7, and this is going to be 0 because that's how we found it. We plugged 0 in for y. And then the other one is going to be negative square root of 7, 0. All right, so now what we did was we found these 2 points. We found this point to be right here, the square root of 7, and this is going to be the negative square root of 7. Square root of 7 is in between the, let's see, the square root of 7 is going to be in between the square root of 9 and the square root of 4. And that's 2 and that's 3. So square root of 7 is going to actually be between 2 and 3, but square root of 7 is closer to square root of 9, so it's going to be closer to 3. So it's going to be a little more than 2.5, and that's exactly where that is right there. All right, so in order to find the slope of those 2 points, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take the derivative of both sides. Derivative of both sides, we're going to have to do implicit differentiation. So the derivative of x squared is 2x. Plus, now, these two things are getting multiplied. This is a function of x, which is x. X is a function of x. And then y is also a function of x, and they're both different functions of x, so I need to use the product rule. So this is going to be x times the derivative of y, and derivative of y is just y prime. Then plus y times the derivative of x. The derivative of x is 1, so it's just going to be y. Plus the derivative of y squared, which is going to be 2y, y prime. And remember, we do this because of the chain rule, because y is not just x, it is a function of x. So we got to take the derivative of y. And then equals 0, because the derivative of 7 is 0. I'm going to combine like terms. I'm going to put the y's on one side and then everything else on the other. So I'm going to get xy prime plus 2y y prime equals negative 2x minus y. Factor out of y prime. We get x plus 2y equals negative 2x minus y. And then I'm going to divide both sides by x plus 2y. So we get y prime equals negative 2x minus y over x plus 2y. Now, since we're going to be plugging stuff in, I'm not going to worry about making this look pretty. What we're going to do is we are going to evaluate y prime at my certain points. So we're going to do y prime at square root of 7, 0. And then y prime at negative square root of 7, 0. Well, what we're going to be doing is we're going to put every time we see an x, I'm going to put in the square root of 7. Anytime I put a y, I'm going to put in a 0. So then you end up getting negative 2 times the square root of 7 minus 0 all over the square root of 7 plus 0. And if you actually reduce this, the square roots of 7's go away, and you end up with negative 2. On this one, you end up getting negative 2 times the negative square root of 7 minus 0 all over the negative square root of 7 plus 0. There's a negative right here. So this negative 7 will reduce with this negative square root of 7, and you end up with negative 2. So negative 2 and negative 2 are the same, and this is the slopes at that point. So therefore, right here the slopes are the same. Therefore, they are parallel at the two x-intercepts.